We've got the umpires coming out, and we've got the batsmen coming out, we've got the fielders, we've got the floodlights on. But apart from that, it's a pretty happy scene here again at the Ageas Bowl. So we have lost 7 overs. So I fear we'll probably lose some more because the weather's just threatening. It's just threatening everywhere, I'm afraid. So I suspect for many of you listening, apart from, and okay, I'll put my hands up on this, Manchester looks to be absolutely beautiful. I had a message from Mark Chapman after, and can I just say again, I was born up there. I wasn't having a go at Manchester because it's an easy target. It's my home, it's my roots. So I was born up there in Cheshire, so I wasn't having a go at Manchester because it's an easy target. But it just kind of rained every day that we were there, didn't it? So, however, thank you, Mark, and everyone else who sent me photographs of the sun beating down in Manchester. Fair enough. You've had the last laugh. But it could rain here again. Maybe it's just this following us around. But still, we will hopefully get through and get as much play in as we can before the close of play this evening. The ground staff have done their bit and they've worked very hard over there. No sign yet of Winston, the groundsman's dog. I haven't seen him on this trip, actually. But maybe, he, as we know, he lives in the groundsman's area there. Generally, he comes out for a walk late afternoon. So maybe we'll see him sniffing around. Winston the Spaniel, who's just so enthusiastic and so full of life and loving every minute of it. So you'll see him wriggling round soon, hopefully. Sam Curran's going to bowl because I think Andy's back. We've got 1 ball to go in the Nova, haven't we, down there? They literally ran for their lives. It was very spectacular. The umpires just looked at each other and just bolted for the dressing room. And they were right, because it did come pouring down. But so there's 1 ball to go in this over. And Pakistan, as we know, are 85 for 2. Babar is on strike. He's got to 7. Abid Ali seems to have been on 49 for a very long time. He's had a mixed day. He's had a lot of luck. He was dropped twice in the slips, and then he had some very bad luck as to where he was struck about his person. But he recovered from that, and he's still waiting to get 1 for his half century. 85 for 2. And this is the 34th over, although, again, I'm afraid I've mentioned this a couple of times, how pedantic cricket can be sometimes. You've got to wait for the clock to tick precisely round to 4 o'clock. Now the umpires are happy. And we're off, and it's Sam Curran scuttling in from the far end and bowling, and that's a full ball, which is just patted away by Babar Azam. We've waited ages just to see that. A full, stiff, loosening sort of delivery, patted away into the offside, and it's the end of the over. Cricket's crazy sometimes. 85 for 2, Abid 49, Babar has 7. And what have you made so far, Ebbs, of today's play?
Yeah, I think it's... Pakistan almost sort of feel pretty pleased the fact that they had 2 let-offs, of course. I thought England bowled well, especially Jimmy up top. They maybe got a fraction short. I'd like to see them push it a little bit fuller, induce that drive, keep those edges coming. I would say this is the dangerous period now. Babar Azam, you got Abid Ali set. You know, you let them get away another 50 runs and all of a sudden it's moving. So they've got to just close the game down now.
Well, Anderson is going to bowl, and you think the conditions are just absolutely perfect for swing bowling. Second 2 for 24, so he'll be happier. You know, he wasn't happy at all at Old Trafford. In a bad mood, and he had a press conference the day after to sort of explain things. But he's got 4 slips. He's bowling to Abid, who's on 49. He's faced 98 balls, and Anderson's on his way now. Over the wicket, he bowls to the right-handed edge, and it's just landed in front of slip, and there'll be his half-century, albeit rather scratchily so. Runs down to third man, and up there on the Pakistan viewing area. They're up there, they're applauding, and no doubt around us in the hotel too, because a lot of them have been watching up in the rooms, up on the balconies. And so Abid can actually, although there's nobody watching, he can actually show his bat to most of the ground, because the hotel is this end, where a number of his teammates are, and then the team itself is down at the other. But he got there. It was a bit edgy, and he's had a bit of luck, but he's reached a half-century.
Yeah, 2 starts in the first test as well. I think this will just feel a little bit of comfort just getting past that half-century mark. I would say the balance throughout the innings started to improve. There's still a few technical things which I think a full swinging delivery could expose, like we just saw. But the key for Pakistan is he's still there searching for a bit of fluidity.
99 balls for his half-century, 6 fours. It's his 3rd score of 50 or more in just his 7th test innings. The other 2 in his 1st and 3rd innings he converted into centuries.
Thank you. And this is rather interesting. Jimmy Anderson's asked Stuart Broad to lay out precisely a little bit of sawdust in every one of his footmarks, all the way up from the start of his run to where he lets go of the ball. So
That's team love, isn't it?
Well, it is. It's like a sort of a trail that's been laid out there, every footprint. And Anderson's running off through those bits of sawdust now, kicking up the sawdust as he does so, and that's on the leg stump, turned away for Broad there to field at wide mid-on, still with his lucky bandana on.
Do you know, I don't think I've ever seen that, a mate put the sawdust in for you. You know, you've done it yourself or they've helped you out, but not actually, you stay there.
But I think there's a good chance that it would be reciprocated, knowing those two.
Yeah.
I mean, they're like a couple of old mates, aren't they, together? So, yep, every footstep has got some sawdust in it now. 87 for 2. Sun's trying to come out as Anderson bowls on the off stump, pushed away into the offside by Abid, the opener. If you are just joining us, Anderson took the 2 wickets, Hassan Masood for 1. So kind of business restored there as far as Anderson and he are concerned. And then Azhar Ali was caught by Rory Burns. Nice catch, actually, given that 2 chances had gone down. 1 dropped by Burns, who took some extra practice during lunch. I saw him down there having some catches thrown to him. So that was off Anderson for 20. So that was 78 for 2. Now 87 for 2. There's a bit of break for rain, but the sun fully out now as Anderson runs in bowls. That's pushed away into the offside. Abid thinks about a single. Babar leaves his crease down at this end and is dispatched by his partner. So 87 for 2. I'm still trying to catch up with this earthquake off Eastbourne as well, which has caused a certain amount of confusion. But I don't know, did your room rumble at 9 o'clock this morning?
I mean, no? There was many things going on.
Wasn't there? Well,
but I'm not sure it was an earthquake.
No, okay. Right, well, we may have to gloss over that. But apparently, at Eastbourne, there was a 3 on the Richter scale earthquake, but no one seems to have felt it now. This is pushed away down to mid-on, where Broad fields. There's now some dispute about whether it actually happened.
So has it been confirmed? That
no, it's been denied, if anything. But it was on my news source. They were just off the coast of Eastbourne at 9 o'clock this morning. There was an earthquake, but then we've had lots of denials of that. It's rather like it may be one of those sort of wonky, erroneous signals on the Snicko when it goes through.
Oh, yeah.
Maybe one of the machines, the seismometer, or whatever they call themselves, have gone a bit mad. 4 slips waiting. Anderson's on his way again, runs in bowls. Oh, he feels for that. Well, just goes past the outside edge. Abid looks a bit confused, but betrayed maybe by the pitch, which he goes up now and prods with the end of his bat. But nice ball and no run. Oh, we've got a seismologist.
Here we go.
Seismologist, get it right, okay. Stephen Hicks, hello. As a seismologist, I can confirm that the report of an earthquake in the English Channel this morning was indeed a false one. I can confirm we didn't see any earthquake signal recorded on seismic monitoring stations in the UK. The detection was an automated one. Oh, we're blaming the French. Made by reporting agencies in France. The earthquake report has subsequently been deleted by that reporting agency and also by the European Mediterranean Seismological Centre, brackets EMSC. It's possible the false signal came from lightning strikes in northwest France. Well, that clears that up. Thank you, Stephen. In comes Sam Curran and bowls on the off stump and Babar's forward. It's one of those mysteries, isn't it? I mean, there's always something about a test match where you get a sort of a bit of a mystery developing, and this will be remembered as the
well, it's a bit like
mystery of the earthquake off Eastbourne.
I'm sure you know, when you've had a drink or two and it's late at night and you're looking out your window and you think you've seen a UFO, right, and you swear you've seen a UFO, and you tell your mate, have you seen any reports? And there's no UFO. It's just. I
don't think I've ever experienced that, because if I'm honest with you, in comes Curran from the pavilion end. He's there and he bowls on off stump, studiously played by Babar. And Curran fields and flicks that.
You've never seen anything like. Sometimes it ends up being a shooting star, but you're looking for a long time. Your eyesight's going a bit dodgy.
I'm not sure you and I are on the same stuff.
That's probably true, actually.
Well, no, I've not seen that. I'll look out for one tonight when I'm sitting on my balcony.
Always look. You see something going on, and you think, is it?
That's probably an aeroplane.
No. No, you know what an aeroplane looks like.
Right. Okay. Well. 3 slips waiting as Curran's on his way over the wicket and bowls, turned away off his hip nicely. So Babar's scoring his first runs of this session. Broad swings around on that square leg boundary, throws the ball back. It's 89 for 2. And suddenly the afternoon, if you just ignore what's over to the right, if you look left, actually the afternoon feels an awful lot better. The sun's shining, it's still nice and warm. And well, if it stays like this, the light will be okay. We'll get much of the missing play in. But picking up some conversation as if there's sort of a soap opera. We haven't got a television feed, have we? coming into our headphones. It's pushed away firmly. Curran fields and throws the ball to mid-on. Hearing people talking.
Yeah.
Yes, anyway, mysterious. There's nobody here.
I think they might be on one of those UFOs.
It could be. Maybe they're going to start watching. Aggers, you know what you've just started,
Maybe
don't you?
Well, I don't know. Maybe what it is. Anyway, I think it's been stopped. 89 for 2. And Baba's waiting. Curran's on his way again. Bowles pushed away up to mid-off. And there's no run. So yes, the floodlights are on. But it's a lovely setting here, and I said earlier, you know, well done Old Trafford for staging 3 consecutive tests in such a short period of time. I mean, that's a massive challenge in all sorts of ways. But here it's a rural setting. We've got the woods up there. I'm exploring them with Tuffers tomorrow. Tuffers and I are going to the woods together tomorrow morning.
What, going for a walk,
Just
early
a
morning walk or
Just
something?
Just a stroll. Then comes Curran. Bowles is pushed way off the back foot down to mid-off. I don't know what we'll see in there. Squirrels maybe and that sort of thing. But it's big wooded area, lots of fresh air. It feels like, you know, it has to be out in the fresh air, isn't it?
Yeah, especially in these times, you take what you can get, but freedom. It's a nice area around here as well.
So Anderson will continue. Broad's walking up, striding past him, and it just feels completely different.
Just thinking about this phase of the game as well and how we've seen the ball react. It can go quite soft, sort of 40 overs in. And if Pakistan get sort of a platform and have plenty of batting to come, they've got an extra batter in today, it's a chance for them to set a total.
They fancy Abid in the slips, don't they? 4 of them lined up there. In goes Anderson, probing way at the off stump. Too short, though, forced off the back foot, beating mid-off. So Curran's in pursuit, running out towards that deep cover boundary. No, I heard the shout there, so Abid will have to make do with 2. But Anderson just a little bit too short. And he's short in stature, Abid, so he's therefore naturally inclined to be a back foot player. Just bowl a little bit short, and he can play a stroke like that, which was a nice one. 91 for 2 in the 37th over. Anderson again is not happy with his, well, with the sawdust and just the general damp around there, because he walked through the sawdust pile that time, deliberately putting some onto the soles of his boots. In he goes again and bowls to Abid, who allows that to go through. Butler collects it just to his right-hand side, and there's no run. And Root works on the ball. You're a bit of a creature of fashion, aren't you, Eben? Have you noticed these new collars that the players have got?
No, I haven't actually. What, the England players?
Yeah, they're like sort of retro ones, so they're shorter, they're turned up. And I think they're new for this kit. They're much shorter.
I like that some players have sort of modernised it. Rory Burns, for example, does the full buttons right to the top.
So does Sam Curran.
Oh, Sam
Must
Curran
be a Surrey thing. In goes Anderson again over the wicket. There, and he bowls too short, worked away into the leg side, a little awkwardly by Abid. Perhaps it bounced a little more than he expected, but again, it wasn't the area that Anderson would necessarily want to be bowling at. No, Sam Curran actually bowls with his all the way buttoned up, which is very rare.
Yeah, it was a good ball, by the way. Just jagged back off the surface, a little bit of seam movement late. Good pace as well for Anderson, mid-80s. No one round the corner, though, for that delivery. Style, Aggers. It's important.
Yeah,
Go on, get your polo buttoned up.
These are too old. This has been through the laundrette 1,000 times, I think. 92 for 2. In goes Anderson again, bowls outside the off stump. And Baba allows that to go through. Well, it's a bit like being on tour at the moment, isn't it? So the old touring clothes have come out, rather. Shove them in the wash.
Same old, just...
Same old. Yeah.
Do you choose your own outfits?
Well, I managed to steer away from shorts. I was tempted to wear shorts today.
Oh, yeah?
But I thought, no, it's a test match, and there's nobody here. Still got to do the right thing, haven't you? 92 for 2. Well, we don't see anybody. We go from here back to the hotel room to watch the rest of it. 92 for 2. In goes Anderson. Bowls outside the off stump. And there's no stroke from Baba this time. Still 4 slips in there. Anderson kicks away at some dirt there in his footholes.
Yeah, it's a mixed over from him, isn't it?
Yep.
I'm just wondering whether it is these footholes. You've seen obviously the one dragged down leg, one sort of given a bit of width to Abid Ali again there. So it might just be he's trying to find that flow at the moment with the footing.
Mopping his brow, he wheels round again. Broad at mid-on, waits. And he'll go strolling in now. There he goes. Anderson's on his way. He bowls and it gets too short. And Babar can flick that away. Lovely shot that. He's timed that beautifully. He's flicked it through mid-wicket, and you can tell the body language. As Anderson just goes stomping off and takes his cap. He didn't even look at that. He knew it was a poor ball. It was ruthlessly dealt with, mind. It was a lovely shot. Full of wrist. And, of course, placed absolutely perfectly. And that's the quality of young Babar Azam, who's just one of those players in world cricket at the moment that he just love to watch. And it wasn't a perfect ball by any means, but it was stylishly put away.
Yeah, I would say in some ways it wasn't even that bad a ball, just a fraction short, but he just got back quick, like you say. Look at those hands, world class.
Lovely shot. And Anderson's got his hands on his hips at mid-on. Not happy with that. Now Curran will continue. No wicket for 13 so far. He'll bowl to Abid, who's on 54, but he has given 2 chances today. Curran bustles in and bowls to him. He's got that away very fine. In fact, so fine it's come for 4. As now it's Curran's turn to drift a little leg side. This will annoy Root, because he was talking after the last test about there were those patches in the course of that match where they just lost it out in the field a bit. They didn't bowl well. Dropped catches, as we know. Just got a bit loose, and you could say, you know, the last 3 or 4 overs have not been at England's best.
Well, I think the frustration for Root is they've been noticeably at the end of sessions or the start of a new session when you want to come out and be on the money, and they've just drifted for the first hour or so, then tend to pick it back up. So you've got to just tighten up at both ends.
Yeah, that wasn't a great ball. It was well put away by Abid. There's Curran again, left arm over, bowls turn, that's better. A length round about middle and off. Plays into the onside, but Ollie Pope. There's the fielder. He's got his upturned collar, very retro. Joe Roots is up.
I'm guessing the clothes since your days, they're a little bit more tailored now, are they? Just a bit more.
I think they may be a little
slim
more
fit.
tailored, perhaps. We had rather more buttons, I suspect, than he said. Roll your sleeves up, but the upturned collar was considered to be really trendy. Here's Curran bowling, turned away and beats Pope this time. Running out from mid-wicket again, just picked off, not being the absolutely spot-on line and length that Root will be after. They've taken another couple. And Pakistan move on to 102 for 2. But if you look at any old video of Jeffrey batting in the 70s, chewing his gum, but the collar would be up all the way round. Tony Gregg, collar up. It was just
a bit of an attitude.
Yeah, it was. It was very trendy in those days. In fact, I did shout at Joe today. Jeffrey would admire that, and he gave me a bit of a look. He's at first slip, waiting for his first catch of the day, and he's almost got it there. In fact, he's gone to the second slip, and Rory Burns has taken it, his second catch, and Abid is out for 60 in the area in which he should have been taken on 1 and on 21. He's now been taken by Rory Burns, and so Abid is on his way. It's 102 for 3. That was just absolutely in the breadbasket, as they say, as far as a slip catcher is concerned. Straight in about navel high. Didn't have to move at all. Very straightforward catch. As I mentioned, he was dropped on 1 and 21, but he's now fallen for 60.
Yeah, beauty of delivery actually there from Curran, who would have felt frustrated. Line had just drifted since coming back from lunch, either side of the wicket a little bit, and then he just got the right one, angled across, a little bit of seam, hit quite high up on the bat actually, going through nicely. So that breakthrough is important. Abid Ali, the main batter, set, and you just feel this could have been a period where Pakistan got away from this English team. So now just a little window, they can try and attack the new batter now and just slow this game down.
So that might just focus England's mind a bit too. They're a little bit offline and length there, but from the left arm over, that angle poses a bit of a problem if you plug away relentlessly enough, and that was the case. So Abid out for 60. Any details, Andy, for us while you're there?
111 balls, 7 fours. As you say, he was dropped on 1 and 21. It's his third score of 50 or more in Test cricket. And he got the vast majority of his runs behind square. 22 down to fine leg, another 5 to backwards square leg, and 14 to third man. So well over half his runs behind square.
Yeah, that's the way he plays. But Curran will be delighted. Just to have found that outside. It did bounce, didn't it? You're right. Just looking at the replay, it did. It took not quite the shoulder, but it was certainly higher than he might have thought. And Burns taking the catch. So he's fielding in the Stokes position. There's been a bit of shuffling around going on because of Ben Stokes not being here. Not sure that excuses the earlier lapses, though. Asad Shafiq's the new batsman. Oh, he feels for his first ball and almost nicked it. Was taken low down by Jos Buttler by his boots. So again, just in that right channel, pushing at it, lured into playing a rather nondescript, perhaps anxious, looking for the ball sort of early defensive shot. But, he's one of the more experienced batsmen. Shafiq has played 76, 77 tests or so he's been around a while. 102 for 3. Curran's on his way to him now. Sun shining, and he bowls, and again he plays very late. Ball runs down into gully, and there is no run. So a successful over for England and for Curran. 102 for 3. Babar 13. Asad has yet to score. Ebbs, lovely to see you again. Welcome back.
Thank you.
To the senior service, and Atif's coming in here.
Thanks, Aggers. Yeah, well, first of all, well done there to Sam Curran. Just at a period where England had let the flow just drip a bit, or drift a bit, should I say, coming back after the break. You just saw he found his line, and that's the cool thing about Sam Curran. When he gets it angling across, challenging with a bit of a swing in the air, and that time that one actually seemed significantly, and he's in the game. Well, Anderson will want to follow that up. He had a mixed over himself, has struggled a bit with the footing, but hopefully now will find his flow.
Hi, Ebbs. In comes Jimmy Anderson, just outside the off stump, beating that outside edge. A little lunge there from Babar towards the ball as it went past him through to the keeper. 102 for 3. Abid Ali very disappointed to get past that 50 mark. In fact, that's the first time in his career, in his test career, that he's gone past 50 and not scored a century. Granted, it's only been 4 matches, but even so.
Yeah, you give him a bit of time. It's all right once to happen, but that's a good stat, though, isn't it?
It is. I suppose it's okay to have a couple of 50s in there alongside the 100s. You don't have to have 100 every time. But he would have been pleased to. He would have liked to have made a little bit more of the lives that he had. In comes Jimmy Anderson now, just back of a length and nice and forward. Babar in defence.
One thing I'd say, though, about that is I don't know where his other 50s have been, but you can see there's a few little technical deficiencies that against a swinging ball in English conditions. You're always going to always be probed and tested. It'll be interesting to see where he got the others, actually. I'm sure Andy might be able to help us with that, but whether the conditions would have been as challenging against seam bowlers.
They were both against Sri Lanka in Pakistan.
In December last year. In comes Jimmy Anderson once again, just once more back of a length, pushed back to him by the batsman for no run. 102 for 3. Yeah, Curran always looked like he was going to get in on the wickets there. He's just taking the ball away. And as we said earlier, he's the exact kind of bowler that Pakistanis traditionally find quite difficult, especially taking the ball away off the seam. It's something they don't often see on their grounds at home. It's a bit rare. So it's particularly with batsmen with unusual techniques, you imagine that's the way to go. And he did quite well. He seemed to be concentrating reasonably hard with the breaks, and a truncated day is always a little bit difficult, but England getting a timely breakthrough. 3 slips in place. A little bit of a chat between Jimmy Anderson and Stuart Broad as Anderson back into his run-up. He comes in and bowls just outside the off stump and beats the outside edge through to the keeper, just shaping away ever so slightly. And Babar getting his bat just inside the line as it went through to the keeper. Taking it nice and cleanly, Jos Buttler. He's concentrating hard after some of the critique in that first game.
Yeah. It's one of those ones as a player, isn't it? You know when you've made the mistakes, and you have to be honest with yourself, but I'm sure every single time he's going to be trying to watch it all the way into the glove.
In comes Jimmy Anderson once again, and just full of a length this time, just took off a little bit and played off a thick outside edge to that third man region. It's racing away towards the boundary. There's a diving stop by Ollie Pope. He gets the ball back. In fact, the batsmen only take 2, so excellent work in the deep there by Ollie Pope. Showing a lot of commitment. We've seen him chase a few down today, Ollie Pope. Is that just the exuberance of youth, or...?
I think it's a mixture of that. I'm sure we wouldn't all mind a bit of his energy. But he's a brilliant fielder, isn't he? There was that catch he took at the end of the West Indies series, just sort of in short leg. So athletic, dynamic. And good to see he's putting in the hard yards for the team.
Absolutely. Still the 3 slips in place as Jimmy Anderson runs in and bowls. Again, back of a length, just outside the off stump. In fact, a long way outside the off stump. And Barber just fished at that as it beat his outside edge through to the keeper. The end of the 39th over, 104 for 3. And, well, we talk about Barber's temperament and his stylish play, but he's kind of going after a few that he doesn't really need to get anywhere near, isn't he?
Yeah, he's the one, isn't he? He's so classy, he's so high quality. And for England, they will see that and feel a little bit more, excited about the potential of getting him out. For him, he just needs to play within his zone. Anything that's offered, he will put it away. He doesn't have to reach. So just flirting at one there, but got away with it.
And a world-class batsman is Babar Azam, somebody people are very excited to see more of. Part of this Fab Five.
Yeah, it should be extended, shouldn't it? It's incredible, his record. And actually, when you compare it to what Joe Root's done in a similar time over the last sort of 18 months, his average is significantly better.
It is. He's got, it's a very small sample size at the moment, but he's doing very, very well in direct comparisons. He's closing in on a milestone of his own as Curran in now to Asad Shafiq, who just turns the ball into the leg side. Fielder picks up no run, 104 for 3. Babar Azam currently 76 runs shy. Well, he was at the start of this innings. That would be 61 now, quick maths, of 2,000 runs in his Test career. So wow. He's got his own milestone to look forward to in this game.
Yeah, just high quality. Also, one thing, and I noticed you're doing, I got spoken to by Wasim Akram, the pronunciation, slightly different to how it's spelled.
In it comes Curran once again, and Asad Shafiq just pushing it into the covers. What did Wasim say?
Well, I was saying Babar Azam, like Azam, as it's spelled. And it's more Azim, I think. Azim. You get it right. I was listening to you. I was like, right, I got up my game.
Babar Azam.
Yeah.
I'm here for all the South Asian pronunciations. That's not a problem.
Do you get frustrated? Sort it out.
Not at all. It's just, it's not a big deal. I've been called many things in my lifetime. Nobody can get Atif right. In comes Saab Curran once again and just tucked into the leg side by Asad Shafiq. Fielder from mid-wicket picks up. No runs scored. Asad Shafiq playing his 71st consecutive Test match.
Wow.
Yeah. No breaks in that. Consecutive. No breaks, no time off for injuries or anything like that. 71 consecutive matches for Asad Shafiq.
That's incredible, isn't it? Yeah. I think about the mental toil as well for this format of the game. That's a lot.
In comes Curran once again now and just played with soft hands in towards the covers. He wanted a quick single there, but the fielder was onto it quickly and wisely turned back around. No run. 104 for 3. Asad's faced 6 deliveries now, yet to get off the mark. He also got a lot of criticism after that last Test match as a senior player, as we say, 71 consecutive tests, for not quite coming to the party for Pakistan. The runs came from Shan Masood, Babar Azam, a lesser extent, Shadab, but Azhar Ali and Asad Shafiq both need to kind of prove their worth in this series. As in comes Curran, a little bit fuller that time, and Asad all the way behind it, pushing to mid-off for no run.
It's incredible how people judge teams, right? So on the flip side, I looked and thought, wow, Pakistan have come out of the blocks considering, the lack of preparation, all the sort of, the COVID scenario. But the home media having none of it.
Expectations are very high of this Pakistan team. They're much celebrated, and I think one of the last countries to be playing cricket just before the COVID epidemic. As in comes Curran, just been pushed back to him by Asad. That's the end of the 40th over, and another maiden. 104 for 3 is the score. Yeah, so they were playing the Pakistan Super League. It was in progress, and the last game played was just before the eliminators, as they call them, and they had to postpone the rest of the tournament. But it was, I believe, the last international or sort of high-profile cricket being played in the world. And just before that, they had this very bizarre schedule where they were going to play one test against Bangladesh, then have the PSL, and then play another test against Bangladesh, then play a separate series, and then come back and finish off with the T20s against Bangladesh. So they'd do the tour over 3 legs, which was rather bizarre then. Of course, it's just the one-off test match now in the record books. But Yeah, expectations are very high with this the Misbah regime. Misbah, of course, wearing 2 caps, the chief of selectors and head coach. He's got the legendary Yunus Khan as his batting consultant, legendary Waqar Yunus as his bowling coach. So, with that kind of setup and background stuff, Mushi's there as well, of course.
I feel like they could, if anyone goes down, they could come in themselves and take a few wickets. Or
only a couple of years removed from retirement, Yunus and Misbah themselves.
Yeah.
Retired memorably together. 104 for 3 then. England looking for one more breakthrough. Still an aggressive field. 3 sips in place, and the sun is shining again now. The floodlights just fading out a little bit as Broad comes in with a full delivery driven down the ground. A diving stop at mid-on. Excellent piece of work there by Jimmy Anderson. No run scored.
It's when you see Jimmy do that, diving the way he just did, across, runs to his left as well, so his non-dominant side, and puts in a full-on, outstanding bit of athleticism just to cut off the 4. No, people aren't moving like that in their 20s, let alone pushing 40.
That was a great dive. Any goalkeeper in the Premiership would be proud of that.
He's just bowled a 4-hour spell as well, unbroken from this end.
In comes the Stuart Broad, a decent line, just angling in towards a batsman who lets the ball go by through to the keeper.
Unbroken apart from lunch and rain break and tea, but 10 overs straight from this end, 1 for 25 in that spell that started around about 12:30.
The English summers, eh? Well, it's hot now, isn't it? It feels like it's just changed. The lights are still on, though.
Yeah, the lights are still on, but it's very, very clear as well now. It doesn't look like there's any weather to be worried about. It's actually quite warm in our box here now, all of a sudden. It's gotten quite warm. Stuart Broad now running in, bowls just back of a length, and this time left alone by Barber. Got a big stride in there as he let the ball go by him through to the keeper. Good pace from Broad as well, 85 miles an hour.
Yeah, the pace has been noticeable, I think, this series actually for both. Broad has been up. Anderson actually came out the blocks even. It's the West Indies with some good mid-80s. Often you see them, I think, historically over the last couple of years, drifting around that early 80s, but actually they're both really upping that bit of hunger.
Broad in once again now with a full delivery, and it just tempts that outside edge. It shaped away beautifully, an absolutely gorgeous delivery, just hit that length and moved away from the batsman. Barber again sort of playing at it and just beaten by the swing as Jos Buttler took it slightly awkwardly to his right hand side. In fact, he fumbled it and got it on the rebound.
What an unbelievable ball. You just feel maybe an inch, maybe not even that much, half an inch straighter, and that would have absolutely wiped out the outside edge. That was a beauty.
You often see that kind of swing when the ball passes the batsman. You don't often see it just in front of him. It was incredible movement there. Broad in once again and looking for a similar delivery, but this time straying down the leg side, and very athletic take from Jos Buttler, almost as if he was compensating for the previous take behind the stumps.
I've got it.
It's one for the photographers.
Yeah, interesting for Buttler. Really good to see him get some runs. I heard Joe Root talking about good that people got to see the value he brings to this side. I think we know there's no doubt the standards he would hold for himself. He'd want to improve that keeping performance.
It would have felt good to get some runs. As in comes Stuart Broad once again, just angling on that leg stump and worked away off the hips by Babar Azam into that deep square leg region. The fielder will run round. It's a decent throw. They'll take 2. Babar on to 17 now from 37 deliveries, and that's the end of the over. 106 for 3 Pakistan. Trickling along at 2.59. They won't be too worried about that. As I'm going to temporarily say goodbye to Ebony. In a moment, we're going to be joined by Phil Tufnell.
We're talking about the big 4 of world batting, as described a few years ago now. Root, Williamson, Kohli and Steve Smith. Looking at the world rankings now, Steve Smith and Virat Kohli well clear in first and second place. Marnus Labuschagne, after a spectacular debut year in Test cricket, is third. Then Kane Williamson, then Warner. Babar Azam is 6th, the highest placed player in this series. Ben Stokes just dropped down to 7th. Then Pujara, Root and Ajinkya Rahane make up the top 10. So only in this game 2 players in the top 18. Shan Masood's moved up into the top 20 for the first time.
That was a good knock for him in the last innings. Shan Masood didn't do so well today, as in comes Curran now, just fended off by Asad Shafiq into the leg side. It'll get him off the mark. We think there's no signal from the umpire, so yeah, it will be a single to Asad Shafiq to get him off the mark. 107 for 3.
And just to highlight one of the difficulties this Pakistan side has, their two most experienced players, Shafiq and Azhar Ali, both significantly down on their highest rating. So the score is the top batsman around about 850, 900. Asad Shafiq currently in 21st place with a rating of 643.
Sam Curran running in once again and just again angled into the pads of Babar Azam, who works it away to that fine leg region. There's no one out there. Oh, yes there is. Stuart Broad collects. They take 2. He moves on to 19. Pakistan 111 for 3.
Shafiq's down about 15% on his peak rating, and Azhar Ali down about 26% on his best rating. He's in 34th place currently with a rating score of 583. So both of their most experienced key batsmen have had something of a career slump.
It's interesting. Those rankings always give you some insight. Phil Tufnell, what was your highest world ranking?
Afternoon. With the ball?
Yeah.
Number 1.
Number 1 in the world. Well, we think so. In comes Sam Curran, a short delivery. Now, you don't often see that from Sam Curran. A bouncer, and the batsman just ducks under it quite comfortably, it has to be said, as the ball went through just above the shoulders of the keeper.
The Tufnell scale, the unofficial rankings used.
What was it? No, it was 13, wasn't it? Something like that. 13. With the bat, I'm not sure. There might have been the odd one below me. Not quite sure. Not quite sure. It was very nice of them to give me a ranking.
Sam Curran once again straying onto the pads of Babar Azam and giving Stuart Broad some more work to do with a little flick down at square leg, deep square leg. They take a single. And he's moved on to 20 now. Asad Shafiq on strike. He's got the 1 to his name. 71 consecutive tests. That's quite an achievement, isn't it, Phil?
Who's that?
Asad Shafiq. He's playing his 71st consecutive test.
Not half. I think, was it Alistair Cook who's got the record for consecutive tests?
Yeah, Cook 159, then Alan Border.
Consecutive.
Wow. There's double Asad Shafiq's numbers.
Didn't even get a cold or anything. Unbelievable.
Sam Curran once again just angling into the hips once more, and Asad's flicked that really, really fine. The keeper's chasing after it. Josh Butler's going to get there. Yep, he's going to get there comfortably. He's got the glove off. He gets the ball back in. The batsman will take 3. Good running there. A lot of work for Josh to do there here on the boundary. Score moves on to 113 for 3.
Yeah, I think Cook missed his second test and then played all the way through. I mean, that is just... I don't think that will ever be broken. Well, unless
Asad Shafiq continues.
Cracks on.
Just to clarify, it was leg buys the previous delivery, not off the bat. Yeah, he's nearly halfway there.
Yeah,
I
mean, that's a lot of cricket.
It is.
It's a lot of cricket, not to get a little hamstring or something.
Babar Azam on strike as Sam Curran comes in, just angles one across him. This time left alone by Babar. He goes through the keeper, no run. 113 for 3 after 42 overs. 42 overs, how long do you think before we see Dom Bess start warming up?
Well, I wouldn't necessarily think today. I mean, England have been fortunate with a bit of this weather and that sort of atmosphere. It looks like it swings and seams. I'll be lucky if... Well, they might give him a couple of overs just to see if there's something there for sure. But I'd be tempted to keep ploughing on with the seamers. Yeah. You know, it has been happening all day for them. They've been a little bit unlucky. I think they bowled quite well. Bowled perhaps a little two sides of the pitch. I mean, I can remember a few going down leg side. But apart from that, they've been creating chances and you know, getting plays and misses. I think the offie might be wrapped up in cotton wool till the next dig, I think.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see what happens. England seem like they've been acutely aware of workload management. Of course, 6 tests in quite a short space of time for them. Conversely, the Pakistanis not too bothered with workload management. I saw Waqar Younis in his press conference yesterday, his digital press conference, saying that we haven't played any cricket for 5 months. They can get on with it.
Well, yeah. I kind of agree with him. You know, you're there as a bowler to bowl. You know, and if things are happening for you and the wicket's happening for you, don't worry about your workload.
In comes Stuart Broad, a full delivery, just flicked nicely by Asad Shafiq towards that mid-wicket boundary. 2 men in pursuit. Will they get there? No, they will not. 4 runs for Asad Shafiq. And he moves on to 5, 117 for 3 now, Pakistan.
Yeah, lovely little clip on it. Full and leg stump by Stuart Broad. Be kicking himself with that one. Gone for the in-swing. You just saw him just sort of angle the wrist in, trying to home in on that off stump, but just got it wrong. Easily flicked away.
Just on Asad Shafiq's unbroken run of tests, he made his debut in October 2011, and one of the various disparities in international cricket, this is Pakistan's 71st game since then. England have played 112 tests in that time, Australia 97, India 87, so Pakistan have had considerably less cricket than some other teams.
Broad now in once again with another full delivery. It's been driven beautifully by Asad Shafiq, but only as far as the fielder at point. No run scored.
Looks good, doesn't he? Looks compact. Looks to gets himself in good positions. Looks to sort of just nudge it away and not look to overhit the delivery. He's looking in good form. He's come out and played well. I know he's only been there for 12 balls, but he's looked in fine fettle.
Absolutely, a lot of pressure on him as a senior batsman to perform on this occasion. Averaging in the late 30s. Would love to put some performances together and push that into the 40s and really cement his place. As in comes Broad, a thick outside edge, and it's been taken at fourth slip. An excellent catch there. And, well, England have the breakthrough. Asad Shafiq, just as you were saying, he was looking good, Phil. He's been taken at fourth slip. An excellent catch there. Just very, very low to the fielder as well, and just didn't carry as well as some of the previous balls as well, but just taken so well.
Well, that's a beauty. That's a beauty. As he said, once again, got himself in a lovely position just outside the off stump, and that's pitched and left him, and he's just got that bat to poke out at it a bit. I mean, you couldn't really leave that, to be fair. Yeah, that's crashing into off stump. So the old commentator's curse strikes again.
Well done, Phil.
Yeah, sorry.
Dom Sibley, though, with an excellent catch, as you say, very, very low to him as well. And Asad Shafiq's been dismissed for 5, a big wicket for England. And they've done well this session, just to sniff out some of these good batsmen.
Well, they've stayed patient, haven't they? Because you could just see a bit of frustration creeping into them. Just before sort of lunch, and a few had dropped and they were beating the bat. You've got to stay patient, and but then it's easier to do that when you know there's just something in that pitch as a bowler, and especially the seam bowlers. It's just happening for them, and you just get the feeling here that England could pick up 2 or 3 quickly here.
Absolutely, and coming to the crease is going to be a man who hasn't played Test cricket in 10 years, so they'll fancy their chances. There should be a lot of pressure on Fawad Alam when he comes to the crease in a moment. There's 3 deliveries that have gone by in the 43rd over, 117 for 4. The light's still on, but it's quite bright here in Southampton now.
Unbelievable, isn't it?
Yeah, just about 2 hours ago, yourself and I, we were on our balconies and just reached out and getting our hand nice and wet. Yeah, a full-on monsoon, and
it was.
There were some puddles just in front of us that have completely disappeared now, which is quite good to see. That's
the trouble nowadays, is this drainage. Unbelievable. Wouldn't have happened in my day. Would have been off. We'd have all been back to the pub. But the drainage is sensational now in cricket ground.
It really is.
Yeah, no, great. Oh, it's a great delivery, as I say, by Broad. Just the angle as well. He's gone slightly wide of the crease, angled that in, and then it's just held up. I mean, that could have been knocking off pole out the ground. You've got to play it there.
Absolutely, keeping it nice and full as well, England, letting that ball swing in the conditions.
He's learned from that, Stuart Broad. He's changed his length as he's got a bit older. He's definitely gone fuller.
Right, here we go. Fawad Alam, the left-hander.
Yeah, pressure's up.
Taking strike.
Is he taking strike? What's he doing?
Yep, he's got a very unusual stance at the stumps. And I'll describe it to you after I tell you that Stuart Broad has come in. His first ball's just been pushed into the covers.
You never told me this.
Yeah, I feel like I should have given you a little heads up. Yes, Fawad Alam has a very unusual stance where he's basically standing face on to the bowler.
He's facing the wrong way.
And he's face on, and then he kind of twists into a more conventional position before the ball gets to him.
Both of his toes are facing towards the bowler, correct, like that. And he looks like he should be facing up from the bowler bowling at square leg if he's playing side on. I tell you who used to bat like that, John Carr, a teammate of mine at Middlesex. Very successful at it.
Of course.
That's a beauty.
In comes Stuart Broad now, and left alone by Fawad Alam through to the keeper for no run.
And then round comes that. It was a left-hander. This is going to get a little bit tricky to explain. He's a left-hander, and then round comes that right leg and gets himself into sort of position to then face up to the bowler. But Wow, yeah, that's I haven't seen one of them for a while.
Yeah, he's got a very unusual stance, but an incredible record of 57 run average in first-class cricket. And
Whatever works for you.
yeah, and it's right up there amongst the best in the world since 2009. Top 6th in the world, apparently, his average in first-class cricket. In comes Broad, and just beats the outside edges. Fawad just had a little flirt with that, as it just held its line, that delivery, angling into the batsman, through to the keeper, no run. That's the end of Stuart Broad's over. 1 for 27 for him. Pakistan, 117 for 4. And, in a bit of danger here.
Well, begs the question, that's where's he been?
For a while, unwell. Maybe Andy can give you some insight into the number of batsmen that have played since he's done that. And while he does that, I'm going to make way for Simon Mann, and I'll be back with you later.
Well, that's a beauty of a stance, but he's got the stats to back it up. But, very strange. Completely front. Oh, yes, Andy, sorry.
Well, Pakistan have picked 28 specialist batsmen since Fawad Alam's last test 10 years and 8 months ago. He's missed 89 test matches in between his last appearance and this one. That is the 7th most tests missed by a player between appearances for the same team. The record held by Gareth Batty, who missed 142 tests between playing for England and 2005 against Bangladesh and playing then in Bangladesh late in 2016. And Martin Bicknell missed 114 tests. Floyd Reef of the West Indies 109. Yunus Ahmed, Pakistan, 17 years between appearances for Pakistan from 1969 to 87. Derek Shackleton and H.L. Jackson for England. Babar Azam is now 7th on that list, having missed 89 tests.
Tests missed.
It's easy to have missed his open stance then, isn't it?
Yes.
Covers in that time.
Open?
That's extraordinary. Wokes bowls. Oh, big swinger outside the off stump. That really went. Yeah. And Babar Azam let it go. And Butler was taking that in front of Root at first slip. A real big swinger there away from the bat from Chris Wokes. Well, England beginning now to work their way through Pakistan's batting. I have to say, this morning it felt like it could have been a 50 for 4 morning.
Got off.
But it's 117 for 4 now. Pakistan have got some batting to do here. Wokes goes in, bowls to Babar, and that one goes the other way after it went past the stumps. Swung in. And Butler took it to his left this time. The wizard is making it talk out there.
Yes.
That's what they call Chris Wokes. The wizard. The whiz.
Yeah, come on, whiz. Well, he cast a spell at Old Trafford with bat and ball.
He was magical.
He was magical.
117 for 4. Babar on 20. 3 slips in. Wokes goes in and bowls to Babar Azam, who's up on his toes there, trying to force that into the offside. Goes rolling up towards Jimmy Anderson at mid-off. And there is no run. Great to be back on the field again. It looked potentially terminal around about 2:30 today with that storm going. Well, it sort of skirted the ground, really. I think perhaps if we'd got all of it, then it might well have been terminal. But
what did they sing, Wizard? Christmas song, wasn't it? What was it? Da, 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 da. It's a famous one. Come on.
Here's Wokes bowling. Flicked away by Babar through square leg for at least 2 runs. 2 fielders chasing it. Curran and Pope, and Curran wins the battle from fine leg, sends in the return, and they come back for 3 runs. So Babar to 23 and the score to 120.
You're not up on your Christmas hits.
I've no idea what you're talking about.
They sang I Wish It Could Be Christmas Every Day.
Oh, right, okay, that was them, was it?
Charming if economically naive.
Yes. I wished it could be Old Trafford every day. That's what he'd be thinking. Chris Wokes, that's right. I wish it could be Christmas.
No, I'm not a big fan of that. I think Christmas every 4 years, don't you?
Oh, you absolute Grinch.
No, like the World Cup or the Olympics. Yes. Christmas every 4 years.
But it should go on for 2.5 weeks. Is that what
it goes on for 2.5 weeks as it is. What do you mean? 120 before. It's fair to say, doesn't go down very well with my
household.
With my household, will it?
No, he could be. I mean, it is an extraordinary stance he's got. He might just. He could find himself in a bit of trouble here with the ball swinging, because where that front pad's going to land.
It is a remarkable open stance. Here's Wokes bowling, like struck on the pad. Shout for LBW. Oh, not out.
Close.
He thought about it. He thought about it long and hard, umpire Kettleborough. What are England going to do? Are they going to have a look at this? Wokes seems quite happy.
I'd be tempted.
Yeah, they've gone for it. Yeah.
Well, he's got to be guessing, Simon, hasn't he? He's got to be guessing where then to put that front pad.
TV umpire to director. We've got a player review for LBW. The original decision is not out. We have a fair delivery, so can we have a look at the front on spin vision, please? Okay, just rock and roll that, please, near the bat. Roll it through.
It's a bit of a slow ball, isn't it, Simon?
Okay, appears to be no bat involved, but can we confirm that with Ultra Edge, please? Got a flat line, or by the side of the bat going through, or roll it all the way through to the pad.
Oof.
Thank you very much. We can go on to ball tracking when ready.
What's that?
Okay, pitching in line, impact in line, hitting the wickets.
Look good.
Fawad Alam.
Richard on field. Richard, I'm going to have to ask you to overturn your decision. You're on screen now.
There we go. Richard Kettleborough raises the finger. Fawad Alam has waited a long time for that. And it's very brief. Yeah. And he's actually got him in the way you imagined with that stance you would.
Well, I don't want to pat myself on the back, but the ball beforehand, I said he's going to trouble. He's going to have trouble facing someone who's swinging the ball back in or just moving it around, because you have to bring that... Your head can't be still. Your leg has to come so far round to then actually get it facing the bowler that you have to then plant. You know, you can't adjust to line or length or swing or seam. I mean, peculiar.
Umpire Kettleborough really thought long and hard about giving that out as well, didn't he? You could see in his body language.
Yeah.
The thing he was thinking possibly was, well, where did it pitch? Well, it was in line. Just in line, yeah. And it hit him on the back leg, sort of above the pad.
Yeah.
But his knee was sort of bent, so there we go. It was low enough.
Yeah. I think that what Richard Kettleborough would have initially have thought is that just pitched outside the line, because it usually, well, a lot of the time it does to left-handers, doesn't it?
Yeah.
And it was just over the half of the delivery. So, you know, a good review. That is why it's all there, isn't it? You know, the umpire was not sure, so gave it not out. They've gone to the referral, and that's what it's about. The right decision has been made.
Woakes' first wicket of this test match. You can watch that dismissal and today's other highlights on the BBC Sport website and app. Video clips available all day. Today at the test is on BBC 4 tonight at 7 o'clock. It'll also be on BBC 2 at 11:30 and available to watch at your leisure on the BBC iPlayer. What time is it available on the BBC iPlayer? Do we know? For those who don't want to watch it on BBC 4? As soon as it's ready.
Oh, it's like dinner.
I fell prey to the curse of modern exaggeration. He only missed 88 tests, not 89 in between his last. And that duck.
That's the Tufnell scale again coming into...
How many balls did he face, Andy? He was out for 0?
4.
Yes.
There we go.
Oh, bless.
It's a long time to wait for a duck.
It is. It is.
All right, here's Mohammad Rizwan in at number 7. Woakes goes in and bowls to him, and Rizwan turns that into the onside towards mid-wicket, and there's no run. We saw enough from Rizwan at Old Trafford to suggest that it could be a problem for England, but these are good bowling conditions. The lights are on, it's a bit overcast, there's a bit in the pitch. I don't know whether the pitch was just freshened up a fraction. Some rain got on it. The umpires consulted and they said, I think we better go off because some heavy rain is on its way.
Yeah.
And if they bowled one more ball, then it not absolutely saturated, but it could have got very damp in the pitch.
Sticky.
Because the rain came very quickly, and by the time they got the cover on, some rain did get on the pitch. Only a bit, but it could have been a lot. Someone just turned the tap on. 120 for 5. Here's Broad bowling to Babar Azam, who's forward, thick inside edge. They go for a quick single. Butlers to his left from behind the stumps, picks up. Rizwan responded well there. And this might be a way of reversing the pressure on England, trying to put the pressure back on. Try to pick up those quick singles.
Yeah, I like Rizwan. He kept well, didn't he, at Old Trafford? A busy kind of cricketer, and does remind you of Moeen a little bit, doesn't it? You know, he's one of those combative cricketers in the middle order, looks to be aggressive and take on the bowling. What are you doing, Simon?
I was just trying to look at, I just saw the television director focus on the cover away to our left-hand side and then focus on the umpires. So I don't know whether there's something behind us. We can't see at the moment. We're in the front room of this huge hotel, so we obviously can't see what's behind us, and there's no room, there's no window out the back. Boo. Broad bowls. And Rizwan there plays a rather indeterminate shot, pushing at it, gets a thick inside edge. That could so easily have gone back onto his stumps. It rolled behind square on the onside, and there was no run. So Barber has 24, Rizwan yet to score. Anderson's taken 2, Curran 1, Broad 1, and Wokes 1. So that 4-man pace attack has been right at Pakistan today, and you feel they're getting some rewards now.
Yep. 4 slips.
Yeah.
Obviously something's happening out there.
Pressure is on Pakistan here, no doubt about that. 121 for 5. Broad bowls to Rizwan, who drives him down the ground. It's a fine stroke. It's coming up towards the long-on boundary. Outfield perhaps a fraction slow after all that rain, because that was hit very well. And they are coming back for 3 runs. Anderson picks it up inside the rope. I think I would have expected that to go for 4 in normal circumstances. It hit very firmly down the ground.
Beautiful, that on drive. He hopped over the waff stump and just really punched it back past Stuart Broad. Full delivery. You're right, that rain's probably just slowed down the outfield. But I like him. I think he performed well, didn't he, Rizwan? At Old Trafford, one of those and one of those just in-your-face cricketers that you love in your side.
And keeps the side going in the field as well. Here's Broad bowling, and Barber takes the bat inside the line there towards square leg, and it goes through to Butler. If you were watching from square on, you might have thought he played and missed at that.
If you were watching from square on, it'd be interesting to see what
Fawad
Alam was. Sitting at square on, you thought you'd come back your wrong seat.
Definitely. Because if you were sitting at square leg, he'd be facing you, wouldn't he?
All he did was go and get a sandwich and a pint. I must have gone back to the wrong seat here. Yeah, it's worth a watch, that is.
Broad balls to Barber. Barber plays at one that really takes off. Missed everything, and Butler took it around about head height.
It's a beauty. What a beauty by Broad, that is. And this pitch does have the it just bounces at you. I mean, that was slightly dug in, but that's deviated away from the bat. Well, Butler's taken that head high. Really lifted, whizzed past the outside edge.
He fenced at it, Barber. He's watching the replay on the big screen. Deep mid-wicket as he's batting at that far end. Broad goes into bowl to Babar Azam. Barber is up on his toes, playing that defensively off the back foot to Curran, fielding it mid-off. And there is no run. 124 for 5 at the end of Broad's over. 13 overs, 1 for 31. The 2 umpires are consulting. Is it about the light?
No, I think it's what's coming behind us.
Yeah, they're looking at something behind us.
I suppose they've got to... I mean, it's a bit silly, though, if they sort of bring everyone off and it doesn't start to rain.
Yeah, well, they've had a chat, and I think they're saying, well, we'll just give it a bit of time, see what happens. But ground staff are poised by the hover cover.
Keep on your toes.
124 for 5. It's 5 to 5. We can go on until, goodness knows, is it 10 o'clock tonight? Something like that. I think so. 7:30. This is Wokes. Bowls to Rizwan. Rizwan hits that firmly towards mid-on. They're off a quick single. It's Broad who's there, and Rizwan almost just targets him there. So, I'll have one. It's Stuart Broad.
They did a remarkable job, though, that last time, because, I mean, there was puddles everywhere, weren't they? They really did work hard. So even if there is a downpour, so long as it's just this sort of scattered, heavy showers, they get back out there pretty sharpish.
I think there's some rain falling in the area. I think I can see it falling out there now, in fact. It's not particularly heavy at the moment, but it won't be long, I don't think. Here is Wokes moving into bowl to Babar Azam, who lets it go, lifting the hands high there above his shoulders to allow that to go through to Butler. And this is where, as a batsman here, you think, I mustn't get out just before the rain break.
Just take us off, Fums. It plays in the back of your mind. Something's happening here. Goffey's looking a little bit agitated at square leg umpire.
There's a little bit of rain falling. Not much, but a little bit. Wokes bowls, that's full, clipped away down towards fine leg, gets the Curran very quickly on the fine leg boundary, straight at him. If that had been a golf ball, it would have sort of hit the cup and spun away. Beautifully played, straight to the fielder. Didn't have to move. Curran down on the fine leg boundary. Barber to 25. Well, he's got a big role to play here now if Pakistan are to get some decent first innings score. Rizwan on 4. He needs some support as well, mind you. Here is Woakes going wide of the crease. Bowls to Rizwan. An absolute jaffa of a delivery. He went wide of the crease, angled it in. Rizwan had to play, and it went away from him.
Can of beans.
Oh, and 2 umpires consulting again now.
I think that'll be it. But you're right, England will be disappointed, actually. They'll want to stay out there because it is talking for on the ball at the moment.
Yeah, they've taken 3 wickets in an hour.
Yeah, and it's swinging, and the odd one's bouncing. Heavy, heavy conditions, and that's it.
Yeah, they're going off. Called on the cover. I think what they're saying, again, it's like earlier, they're saying, look, there's some rain coming. I don't think we can risk staying out because it might be heavy. That tap might be turned on full.
Yeah, and then it will take even longer to get conditions, to be correct again. So they've got to do a bit of a Mystic Meg there, the umpires, haven't they? They've got to almost preempt the rain.
Well, there is a bit of rain falling, to be fair to them as well.
Yeah.
So it's 126 for 5. Good session for England, that.
Yeah.
3 wickets for 41 runs and getting some reward for their bowling. They deserved more earlier, and Pakistan, in a way, got away with it. Especially Abid Ali was dropped twice. There was the one from Azhar that rolled back onto the stumps and didn't knock the bails off. Yeah. And there's a lot of playing and missing as well. But since the resumption, Pakistan have started to nick it, and England have started to catch it as well.
Yep.
So, Shan Masood, LBW Anderson 1. Azhar Ali was caught Burns, bowled Anderson for 20. And then Abid Ali caught Burns, bowled Curran for 60. Asad Shafiq caught Sibley, bowled Broad for 5. And Fawad Alam, LBW to Woakes for 0. Babar Azam has flirted a couple of times outside off stump, but he's played very nicely, class player. And Rizwan has come in and been busy so far, but we haven't seen much of him in this innings. So the central cover is on, and the central cover has 2 big white covers. They just unfurl that go out over the square, which is what they're doing now. The ground staff in their maroon shirts and blue shorts. Team Ageas Bowl.
Yes, maroon. Is that maroon a Hampshire colour? Not particularly, is it? But there you go.
It's the Hampshire ground staff colour. And they're taking out the big piping as well to let the water come off the cover.
Perhaps they were on offer.
Well, tough times, aren't they, economically?
They are. Yeah. They are indeed. Yeah, it's just getting a bit heavier. The umps have done pretty well there, actually.
It's a steady drizzle rather than that deluge that we had. That caused the last rain break. Players are off the field from about 20 past 2 to 4 o'clock. We did manage to have tea, though, which is a bonus. Often, they come back on, they say half an hour cricket, we're going to have tea now.
Yeah.
But we managed to get the tea interval away. So it's 5 o'clock now. We can play until 7:30 tonight.
Yeah.
Have we got to be playing by a certain time to go through that far? It's normally 7 o'clock, isn't it? Gordon says, my radar shows a light rain shower. Will not last long and no more in sight.
Oh, good.
He says. But he says, there's a caveat, but these showers can develop quickly within 20 to 30 minutes. So we might not be terminal as far as the day's play is concerned, although clearly we're in for a bit of a delay again. There is some brightness up above. It's funny, isn't it? All the test matches this summer, the first day has been blighted by bad weather.
Cracking flags up in Manchester today.
Yeah, but it wasn't for most of the 3 weeks we were up there. Anthony says a 5-minute shower heading your way just past Durley.
Oh, right.
Which is 2 miles from the Ageas. People get very defensive about the weather where they live, as if it's
personal.
As if they produce that weather. Well, no, it just happens.
Yeah.
It's bizarre. It's illogical.
Well, it's a bit like whenever you say, what's the temperature in Barbados? It's always 28. Always. Because they don't want to get too hot, because then people might not go. So it's always 28.
Oh, right.
Yeah, it's perfect. It's perfect. Which it usually is. But you're going to get the odd bit of hiccup, aren't you?
So rain to stop play. England today, they're bowling tough. Have they been I mean, as good as they possibly can be?
Yeah, I think they did. I think they bowled nicely without rewards, as you were saying earlier on. Perhaps I can just remember a couple sort of flicked off down the leg side, perhaps. But I think they probed away nicely on that off-stump line. Just good, good bowling, on a pitch that was doing a little bit. You want to be full on that off-stump and let the pitch do the work a bit. And they've done that, England, very, very nicely. Couple down the leg side, but you're going to have that slightly overcompensating sometimes. But kept the pressure on Pakistan. You could see them getting a little bit frustrated with not getting the rewards, and then they've come out and they've picked up 2 or 3. They'll be happy with their work, but they'll be disappointed that perhaps they're 30 too many. But then that's just being greedy, perhaps.
Yeah. Is it the right bowling attack for this pitch as well? Curran in for Arch in this test match. Joe Root said at the toss, actually, to be fair, he said we wanted to strengthen our batting a bit without Ben Stokes in the side, and Crawley's fairly inexperienced in that middle order.
It felt light, didn't it, at Old Trafford, just batting-wise, a bit. So, yeah, I think that England being 1 up, perhaps just thought to themselves, let's sort of just go a little bit deeper. Also, Sam Curran played 1-8 here. He seems to be a bit of a lucky charm. Gives them that angle as well, which is great, and also creates a little bit of a bit of rough for the off spinner as the game goes on. Yeah. So, they've kind of covered all bases there a bit, haven't you? I mean, if it had been a very, very flat pitch and dry and hot, perhaps a quick bowler might have come in that might have needed to break a partnership or something if it had been very, very flat. But I think they've looked at the cover, the cloud cover, and perhaps the forecast for the next 2 or 3 days, and just thought,
humid weather,
swingy,
might swing.
And just listen, we need 4 guys who are going to run up there, put it on a length, nibble it about outside off stump. That should do the trick.
Yeah. Sam Curran, batting average of 26 so far in his 18 test matches, and before this game, a bowling average of 31. What you want to do as an all-rounder in test cricket or in first-class cricket is get your batting average above your bowling average.
Correct.
That's the sort of mark of a significant all-rounder, an all-rounder who's produced a lot. So, i.e., for Sam Curran, batting average of 32, bowling average of 31. Okay, just to make that clear. Curran today, 10 overs, 2 maidens, 1 for 23. Got a good one to get rid of Ahmed Ali, caught by Burns at slip.
And he does it a lot, doesn't he? Old Sam. He has that knack. He's got that little golden arm that runs in, and people perhaps just relax a little bit, but can swing it. And then he's a clever bowler for a young bowler as well. Then looks to just run the odd one across. Just makes things happen. I think England like that.
Azza's here as well.
Azza.
Azza Mahmood, who was actually, as you were talking about, England's batting looked a bit thin at Old Trafford. He didn't look very convinced by that. To you, as it looked pretty good, did it?
No, they looked pretty good. They chased down the total in the end.
Yeah.
Excellent from Josh Butler and Chris Vokes. That was good. And on this pitch, yes, Sam Curran coming in to play because muggy condition, ball swings, and he's a really good swing bowler. And he got all the ability to take the ball back to the right-handers and take the ball away and hold his line. And I played with him when he was growing up at Surrey. So he got a good head on his shoulder, and he worked really hard on his game, either batting or bowling.
He's still growing up. He still looks about 14.
Yeah, he does.
He does indeed. But he's just one of those cricketers, as you say. England have always been trying to find a way to get him in the side, because when he does come in, I can remember here, wasn't he played a fantastic knock against India and completely changed the game?
70-odd, I think.
That's right, and he just has this ability to then get, when things aren't going so well, perhaps just run the fingers across one and get an outside edge. He's just one of those guys that you want in your side, but because of the depth of this England side, he struggled to get in. So he's not a bad replacement. And then, as you say, if England were actually then looking for this out-and-out quick, a bowling 90 mile an hour, and they wanted to rotate Archer, why didn't they then play Wood? So they'd obviously had this sort of plan in their head.
Yeah, because they played.
He's fit, isn't he? Wood? He's fit.
Yeah, Wood is fit. Yeah.
I think Sam Curran, if you see his front arm, he hardly uses his front arm. He just bowled with the one arm. If he can manage to get bowling at above 85, he will be lethal.
Yeah.
And he had a word with me the other day. You know, we might have some work with him after the Test series and T20. You know, like Surrey is my heart, and I always belong to Surrey. And I told him, I said, I'm happy to help you in that case. You know, and definitely he will be working. But if it's difficult when you're working and playing test match cricket and changing things around, but if you've got a time off, and then you can work on that. And I hope, you know, and I'm pretty sure he will get to around 85, 86 mile per hour bowler and get a bit more stronger.
So is that a technical thing, or is it a strength thing? What is it? Is it sort of growing into your body? You talk about his getting his right arm up. Will that help him bowl 85 miles an hour rather than say 82, 83?
Yeah, definitely. That will definitely help him to get.
Explain why.
Using the front arm. You know, like if I take the arm up and come down hard and hitting your elbow to your tummy, so allow you to get an extra bit of, you know, momentum, and then use your arm. And because if you see, he hardly had any jump. He's quicker through the crease, and arm speed. Arm speed is really key to get a bit more quicker. If you see a lot of Pakistani bowlers, you know, like of Wasim Akram, he was similar sort of run-up, but really quick arm. But shoulder is really strong, where they generate more pace. And wrist behind the ball is sometimes when you wrist behind the ball and you're not flicking in the last minute, you know, you're not using your finger to push the ball hard enough and get extra bit of bounce. He does that. Like I mentioned last test match, you know, like kissing the pitch when he's bowling well. But if you see 84, 85, he's kissing the pitch hard, and ball gets from there, you know, like you get seam or swing from there.
And how long does it take to make that technical adjustment, the one you're talking about? Is it something that you can do over quite a short period of time, or is it something you've got to work at? You know, it might actually, to put it into your bowling at the highest level, it might take, say, a year. Is it as long as that, or can you do it quicker than that?
You can do it quicker than that. It's just getting your shoulder rotation, your elbow, and your wrist, and then the finger. So everything is in the same momentum, so you need to work on that. And he's a very smart guy, because he's coming to the Surrey system. I can tell you the story. I remember I was playing a T20 game, because I was playing T20 game for Surrey, and it was the second game. I went to play this game. First time I met Sam Curran in that game. So captain asked me, how are you gonna bowl? I said 2 up front, 2 backhand. So I bowled 2 overs. I got a wicket on the last ball, and I saw Mahela Jayawardene walk in. So I went to the captain. I said, you know, can I bowl here? And he said, yeah, sure. And in the end, you know, Sam Curran has to bowl my overs, you know, the 17th and the 19th. So he went for 20. And Ali Brown, I was walking in, Ali Brown said, why you do that? This young guy is not ready to bowl at this stage, you know, why are you doing that? Okay. I said, okay, that's how he's going to learn the game. What happened? 2 weeks later, we got a lot of injuries, and Sam Curran ended up playing for Surrey T20 game. And I remember we were playing against Middlesex. I bowled 2 overs, he bowled 2 overs, he bowled okay. So when captain asked me to have a ball, so I said, why don't you give this guy? We were in good situation, 96 for 5 or 6. Sam Curran came in and bowled really good 2 over, got a couple of wickets. And from then onwards, he was going upward, up and upward. And Ali Brown was standing when I was walking into the stairs. Then I saw Ali. I said, Ali, what do you think? This guy is not ready to play second 11. Now look at that. You know, it's just getting the opportunity. He got that opportunity, and then he was doing really well. He had a great summer that year. You know, he can swing the ball, seam the ball, and then with the bat as well. So he's a fantastic cricketer.
Yeah, and also it's not necessarily a massive change in action,
no.
Is it? It's sort of like a feel. It's a feel at the crease. You know, you're not sort of saying, do anything wildly different. You know, it's not. Then you're almost like dismantling your action and then trying to build it back together. It's just little things that you sort of plant in the back of people's minds that sort of like you just then think about it and just sort of like then start building it into your sort of like normality of the way you bowl. You know what I mean? It's a bit like it's a bit like when I wasn't bowling very well, I'd always think to myself, just hold. You know, when you get into the coil position, sometimes I used to run through a little bit and sort of like not get a lot of bounce. And so you'd think to yourself, right, just as you come to the crease, just give a little moment to think to yourself and up like that. And it didn't. People couldn't see it as a real difference in my action, but I could feel it in my body. And that's the way of sort of like, it becomes ingrained in you. So you're just sort of like, you're learning all the time and then slowly putting these little pieces into the action instead of sort of like, try bowling with your right hand.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, it's quite a technical thing to talk about on the radio, but
no,
but just, you say he doesn't use his front arm. What do you mean by that, Azhar?
If you see his action, you know, he goes here and then dropped really quickly. So he needs to
drops his arm quickly. This is what we're trying to explain.
It's not
strong enough. He needs to hold a bit longer. And, you know, like if you see all the bowlers who bowl really quick, so what they does, when they're landing, so the arm is here. So arm, you know, the bowling arm is around 90 degrees, you know. And sometimes some people drop their front shoulder early, so that's why the arm comes too early here. So if you see all the fast bowlers who generate more pace, you can see them, when they land, they're almost in this position.
Well, and let's describe Azhar's position at the moment. It looks a bit like a javelin. About to throw the javelin.
Yes. If you see Shoaib Akhtar, if you see Thompson and all these bowlers, Bratley, they are like in javelin position when they're here, and then they bring their hip forward, and then that's the way they rotate their hip, and all the power coming from their arm, from the bottom up to their arm, and then release point.
I think I've just pulled an intercostal.
You're out for 3 weeks, man.
I think I've just done a little intercostal trying to show you how to do that.
That's one sort of technical aspect of playing the game. I hope we've been able to try to present that to you as a listener.
It's not letting that front arm be a bit floppy and a bit nothingy, and then just letting that shoulder do all the pace.
The bowling shoulder.
Yeah, I mean that is sort of like your 70% of where your pace comes, but all these other little things getting through, front arm, run up, they all add just to those little extra bits of pace.
I should say the covers are being what do they call that? Anyway,
rolled up.
Rolled up, that's the one. That's the phrase. They're being rolled up. That's exactly that. It'll take a bit of time because the central cover's still on. They've still got to do the other side. One side, they're rolling the cover up. It's fourth umpire Saggers is out there. And it looks the reason they're rolling them up is it looks to have stopped raining, and they're taking the rope round. The lights are on, but it doesn't look too bad at the moment. No. What is it? 5:15. So talking about the technical side of bowling, let's get Azhar on Fawad Alam's batting.
Oh, what a beauty! I haven't seen one like that, Azhar, for a while.
Those who weren't with us when Fawad was there for a very short period of time, he hasn't played a test match for 11 years. He comes out, he gets a 4-ball duck.
Yeah.
His crease is so open. I think as open as I've ever seen. I mean, there were people like Peter Willey, Chandapol, you mentioned John Carr, they had very open...
Simon Cottage.
Yeah, but I haven't seen anything like that. I mean, he's facing the ball. I mean, it's as if he's facing a bowler at square, coming in from square leg.
I feel sorry for the guy. You know, he deserve all the credit. You know, he's here because of his pure performance in domestic cricket. I'm really sorry for him, what happened today. Over the year, I've seen him. He was like a Chandrapal before, and now he's gone. I've seen him after a long time. He's gone totally in a different angle. It's square. And now, one thing I was watching on TV, you know, like when I was sitting in my room, so I see that when he was standing like this, when he delivered the ball, he was side on and he wasn't moving. So that's why maybe he gets a lot of runs, and it puts bowler off his line and length. But Anderson is a quality bowler. Yeah. He will. Chris Woakes and these guys are quality bowler. They will hit that area which we are talking about. You know, like 4 to 5 meter length and a line.
Yeah, and also, I mean, you've got to be struggling a little bit when you're so square on, especially if the ball swings at you and nips at you, because you then actually say, as you say, you have to get that leg round and almost plant it to be looking straight down at the bowler. So you are a little bit planted there. And if someone does swing back in, you can't then move your leg out the way. You can't do two movements, otherwise, it's difficult to explain. You know what I mean? As you say, if you're so square on, there then has to come a point when you're almost guessing where that delivery is going to be. And if it swings back in at you and you get your foot too far across and it swings back in, your back can't catch up with your front leg.
Yeah. But it's just because on his defense, I will say here, in domestic cricket, he got a lot of runs. And for last, I think, not the last year, but before that, 4 or 5 years back, we were playing on really seaming pitches in Islamabad. A lot of cricket played in Islamabad where the pitches were seaming and ball was hooping around. And he managed to get runs on those pitches, which is really good of him. And now here, that's the... it's in your mind, basically, coming back after 10 years, It's emotions going on into your favor. I don't know how mentally strong he is because, there's a lot of thinking going on. He might think, this is my last chance to play for Pakistan. If I hadn't done any runs, then what's going to happen? And these sort of things, I got full sympathy for Fawad Alam.
Well, it obviously works for him. It obviously works for him, otherwise he wouldn't have forced his way back into the side.
Here's a question then. People might be asking, listening in their cars or at home or whatever, why do you do that? Why would you have such an open stance? I mean, most batsmen, Thomas says, no, I don't know. But most batsmen don't do that. Some people are a little bit open. Some like Dom Sibley is a little bit open.
They're a strange breed.
But he has got two eyes facing down the pitch, almost like staring at the bowler.
Yeah.
As a batsman, you see some people are right eye dominant and left eye dominant.
Yeah.
Left eye dominant, you see they stand like parallel, and right eye dominant. I was right eye dominant, and Joed Mialad, you see they're slightly open, and it's you watching from both eyes. But with his case, he's almost scared on. Maybe he's. Both eye dominant? I don't know that.
No. I mean, it's a very individual thing, your batting setup, and you're evolving it all the time as you play. And sometimes, if you're not getting runs in a specific sort of way, you then think to yourself, well, I might just try something, and it looks like it's evolved to the extreme. You're forever tinkering with things, and sometimes you've just got to sit back and go, hold on a minute, I'm now getting a little bit carried away with myself, but it's obviously worked for him. He's found a method, like a Dom Sibley and these guys, that then works for him to get him back into the side. And I do feel sorry for him, as you say, that amount of weight, and then he just gets one, and he's gone. But I mean, it does look susceptible to the moving ball or the swinging ball.
The umpires are coming out for an inspection, so we might get some good news in a few minutes' time. As you want to make a point?
George Bailey is a great example here. Like during the series, he changed his stance. He almost showed his left shoulder to the bowler, right, and then changed it. Because why he changed that? Because when he's standing normally, his foot goes across quite a bit, and he gets struggle and play across the line. That's why he was getting leg before. And when he changed that, when he was there, he shuffled and then coming into this position, so his foot was not going there. So that was great example. Everyone has a different approach to it, but sometimes something worked for someone, and definitely this is work for Fawad Alam.
Yeah.
I should explain that actually that Azza's he's showing us the whole technique.
He looks like he's on Strictly Come Dancing.
He does, doesn't he?
Well, if you're explaining, George Bailey and Fawad Alam, you have to become on Strictly Come Dancing.
You've got to be light on your feet. I mean, people have their trigger movements, don't they? I should say, look at Burns. He has this extended trigger movement, but I mean, that is a whopper of a trigger movement to bring your leg completely round that way. Your timing has got to be spot on, and if you're just slightly out, it's going to be a bit of trouble.
Yeah, just to make the point about George Bailey, as I was making, standing up and demonstrating it to us, is that George Bailey's left shoulder was right round, almost facing the bowler. I mean, that's the other extreme, isn't it? There's open and there's as closed as George Bailey. I mean, it's
and it's all these little things just to get you into like your trigger, which then gets you into your position, but the point of release and when you're then ready to face the ball, you feel that you're in your best position. Why people don't actually just start in that position, I'm not quite sure. You know, because they like to be on the move. I mean, we've seen so. I mean, the natural trigger is back and across, isn't it? Back and across, and then sort of get yourself to push off and push back. But yeah, no, that's I haven't seen one of them for a while.
Balance is the key for batting. You know, like if you see the boxer in their wing, you know, they're doing it. So for me, you know, like when I was struggling, because my knees are gone. So if I'm putting too much pressure on my knees, my, you know, weight on my toes, so I'll fall over. And if you weight on the heel, you know, you find your own balance in between. You know, like middle of the feet, where you can easily leave the ball from here, and you can go forward and come back on the back foot. So it's a personal thing, but over the year I find this one, if you balance here, so you can play any ball coming forward or going back. So that's allow you, if your weight is on the front foot, that's allow you to go forward, and then from there, if it's slightly short ball, you can push back yourself and hit through anywhere. So
you've made it look so simple.
I wish when I was playing I could find these things. You know, like it's just the way you watch people do things, and you apply himself on the nets, and you know, with young players, if you're working with someone. So
of course, there's someone like Steve Smith who, you know, you look at him, you think, well how does that work?
Well, things have changed a little bit, hasn't it? The funky stance now seems to be very trendy, doesn't it? You know, the people. I mean, Steve Smith was amazing. I mean, and as completely in control of everything. You know, you keep looking at someone like him and thinking to yourself, well, I've got to be able to rush him or nip one back, or where does he know where his off stump is? It is just what works for you. And you've got to have a little bit of time, and you've got to have your own experience to stick with it when things aren't going well. It's a bit like a golf swing. You know, some of these guys, you know, even when they're at the top of the game, they then sort of go, right, I'm going to completely dismantle my golf swing. You know, I'm a good golfer, but I just want to be better, and this is the way that I think I can do it. So, yeah, I mean, funny for the old batters, you know what I mean? So a lot of it's in the old mind.
I think the key is here is your balance when you're watching the ball. You know, whatever you do beforehand, when ball releases, your head and eyes should be still.
Yeah.
And you see Steve Smith, all the guys, Chanderpaul, Simon Cattage or Josh Bailey, they does well when their eyes are still and they're watching the ball, the head is not moving. That's the key thing.
The umpires are still talking about what's possible here, talking to the head groundsman by the looks of it.
A bit dark, I don't know. I don't think it's a bit dark.
Could be. We do tend to like to stay off the bad light at this time of the day.
They love a chat, don't they, the umps? Perhaps it's because they don't do a lot of chatting during the day because they're so far away from each other. Whenever they get a chat, they love just standing there, don't they? Hands in the pockets. What are they talking about?
I don't know. The rope's going round and the central cover is still on. I mean, I think it's one of those where they think, well, perhaps it might rain again, I don't know. But it doesn't look to be raining at the moment. And you feel the logical course of action here is to roll those two covers up, take the central cover off, put some stumps in the ground,
and never go,
and get on with some cricket. But you think that'd be the logical thing at a cricket ground?
No, don't be silly.
It doesn't always seem to work like that.
No. It has stopped, hasn't it? I can't see any.
I think
coming
so. Yeah,
down.
I mean, no umbrellas are up out
unless
there.
there's something really, really threatening out the back. I'm not sure. You're right. Why haven't they just rolled up the two side covers and then it can just be whipped off and we can get playing? But we say it every day of every game. One day they will understand. One day they'll think about it and hopefully come to the right decision.
The score when they went off was 126 for 5. Pakistan, who won the toss, and they decided to bat first this morning. And the feeling is the pitch is quite dry underneath. There was a hint of moisture in the surface, a little bit green on the top, but essentially dry. So you're sort of taking a punt, a bit like England did in that first Test match here this summer, where they sort of took on the conditions really in the first innings, hoping that it was going to be sort of easier to bat in the first innings than it was in the fourth innings of the match. As it turned out, that wasn't quite the case, and West Indies got over the line. They won by 4 wickets. It was a struggle for them in that fourth innings, but they did it very well. That fine innings from Jermaine Blackwood, making 90 odd on the final day of the game.
It was another one of those tosses that for England, pretty handy to lose, you know, because I'm sure England. But did Joe Root say he would have had a bat as well?
Yes, he did. Yeah.
Yeah, there you go. And you know, looking at the conditions, the heat when you're down in that bowl as well, it was really muggy and humid. We're sort of like above it as well, but when you're down at the grass sort of level, really muggy, overcast. You know, it just felt a nice day to have a bowl. But then you could see the reason for having a bat as well.
Yeah, the umpires are walking off now, so we're just waiting for their decision. It looks as if we're not going to get resumption in the next few minutes. It must be quite dark at the back. That's the only thing I can think. They're looking at the clouds behind the hotel and saying, oh, look, it's dark.
Yeah, it does look pretty dark. I've just seen a little picture on the telly. Looks a bit threatening behind us.
Yeah, I mean, it's that frustrating thing again where, you know, we've got floodlights and yet for some reason we're not allowed to play despite the fact we've got floodlights. So we wait. Basically, we can go on until 7:30 this evening.
Yeah. Talking about what?
Those out today are Shan Masood for 1, Ahmed Ali for 60, Azhar Ali for 20, Asad Shafiq for 5, and Fawad Alam for 0. 2 for Anderson, 1 for Curran, 1 for Broad, and 1 for Chris Wokes.
How much would have you had on James Anderson getting himself a 5 here today? You could just feel it, and you could feel it. He was bristling a little bit from not a lot of criticism, but a little bit of criticism.
What's interesting, I think, actually, both Buttler and Anderson have given interviews in the last few days in which they've alluded to the criticism that they've had and actually said, fair enough.
Yeah.
But Buttler said, fair enough, my keeping was not good enough. It really wasn't. My place in the team was under threat. You know, I cannot keep dropping balls. No. And Jimmy, I think, sort of said the same thing about his Old Trafford performance as well.
Yeah,
2 very open and honest interviews.
I thought he didn't bowl badly in Old Trafford.
No.
You know, he bowled beautifully, but unfortunately he didn't get wickets, and because everyone wants to see Jimmy Anderson 5 and, you know, a lot more wickets, and it puts you a little bit pressure on you when everybody talking about your age and, you know, what a good bowler he has been over the year, and nearly touching 600 wickets as well. So he might be thinking, you know, in this test match or a couple of test match, I'm going to get to 600 mark, and put pressure on yourself, and you're not thinking the process, and you're just running in and try to bowl quick or do something else rather than, you know, sticking to the basic and, you know, doing what he does best. And we saw this morning he was running in and hitting the ball in the right area and challenging batsman technique.
Yeah.
Well, Anderson at Old Trafford bowled 28 overs, 8 maidens. He took 1 wicket for 97, so 28 overs, 1 for 97.
But beat the bat so many times. And it was just one of those games. I mean, you can run in and have those kind of games. And even with Jimmy's experience, it still frustrated him. Yeah. You know what I mean? And that's what can happen to you as a cricket player, especially as a bowler. You can run up and bowl and just not get the rewards for it. And as you said, even with all the experience in the world and nearly 600 wickets, he still come off going, God blimey, you know what I mean? Didn't they realise I bowled well? You know what I mean? So it's a funny old game.
Yes, he had Abid Ali dropped as well. And
there you go.
Then he bowled a bad ball that hit for 4 and he sort of kicked the turf.
Yeah.
I suppose it's that thing, isn't it, that when you get to 38 and you do, you know, you take 1 for 97 in a test match, you sense people talking behind your back. Are they saying, oh, has he still got it? Is that?
But there's a difference between 1 for 97 and 1 for 97 and didn't threaten, didn't shape the ball, didn't move the ball, was always creating problems. You can have an unlucky 1 for 97, or you can have I didn't bowl very well, 1 for 97. And he didn't have that. And so even he, as you said, was feeling frustrated with it.
Right, we wait for play here. It's overcast, the lights are on. It's not raining at the moment, the central cover is still on. And the lights that we can see around the ground, we see a television light on the far side, I mean, they are really shining out brightly. So we'll wait and see. We might not have any more play today, although in theory we could have another couple of hours.
The umpires haven't moved. They're still standing there, legs crossed, arms folded. They're discussing, and the light certainly hasn't got any better either. So we're going to say goodbye. You can watch highlights on Today at the Test tonight on BBC 4 from 7 o'clock or BBC 2 from 11:30. And there's the sounds that you can get later for the podcast when this has all been completed. Back on air at 10:15 for the highlights here on 5 Live Sports Extra, with Radio 4 also with us from 10:45. So that's where we're going to say goodbye to you tonight, and we'll see you again tomorrow. Goodbye.